It's unreal how excited I get over a book that doesn't make people with disabilities look bad. Heyo, I am back. I'm almost through my first semester at Auburn, and I've been pushing through possibly one of my favorite books ever, A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. And I wanted to talk about it because the main character has cerebral palsy and she's a badass. Before I get started, like, subscribe, interact, send my video to your grandma, I'd really appreciate it. This book, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I wouldn't exactly call it a modern retelling because even though it does take place in modern time, it mostly happens in another universe where it's still medieval time, so the modern things in the story like phones don't play that big a role. First of all, I love it because I love Beauty and the Beast. That's my favorite Disney movie and one of my favorite fairy tales. The main character, Harper, a girl from Washington, D.C., grew up with a sick mother and an older brother who was roped into gang activity to keep their mother and his family safe. Harper has hemiplegic cerebral palsy that affects her left side. Because she's not the most athletic and can't help her brother physically, she acts as a lookout for when he goes to threaten debtors for the gang boss. Because of this, Harper doesn't know how to fight in the beginning of the book. Eventually, she learns to throw knives and shoot a bow, but she is wildly underestimated in the beginning. Even though she's not super strong, she does not let her disability hold her back. In one scene, she's locked in a room and wants to get out. And so she climbs out the window and parkours her way down. She falls and nearly snaps her neck, but she just climbs, 3 stories probably down this castle. How do you do that? That is just awesome. And it's super cool, and she just gets up and keeps going. And even though she's independent and doesn't care about how her disability may limit her, that is still not my favorite part. Harper takes no crap from anyone. She'll pick a fight with anyone, and she's carried herself in a way that makes her intimidating. So even though she's short and has this very visible disability, it doesn't matter because she is confident, so she radiates power, and she even faces an enemy empire alone and scares them away by bluffing and acting confident, and they could easily snap her in half in about 2 seconds. But she acts confident and scares them away, and that is super cool. I love her for that, and she is amazing. Harper's power comes from herself, not talents she may or may have. And even though Harper has a disability, that isn't who she is. Harper is basically a warrior princess who does not like to be talked down to. And when I'm reading, I honestly forget that she has CP, which for me, I forget that I have CP sometimes. And then it dawns on me and I'm like, oh, I have this thing that means I can't do certain things. But the fact that her disability doesn't change who she is and she would equally be as badass without it, that just makes my heart happy. Because if Harper didn't have a disability, she would be no different. She would be the exact same person and she'd be awesome. And disability isn't what gives her strength. It isn't what gives her weakness. It is just a condition in her life that she's been given and she just lives with it. And she doesn't know anything different and isn't like, oh, I wish my life was like this. I wish it could be like this. Because she's like, this is just how my life is. And I'm going to live it the way that I'm going to live it. I just love the book overall. It's wonderful and written so well. And its story is incredibly enjoyable. But Harper's character is so genuine and realistic that I like to think of myself as similar to her. For any young girls who feel they don't have any good role models because an able-bodied heroine isn't quite close enough to how it is to be a person with a disability, Harper is one of my favorite characters and someone I really look up to, even though this is a young adult, 16, 15 age book, and I'm in college. I want to be this girl. She's awesome. she's crazy cool, and her character is written so well and written like someone who actually has a disability, and that's so important to me and just makes my heart happy. I love that. So Bridget Kemmerer, good job. You're doing everything right. This video was made possible by my patrons on Patreon: Robert DeBoer, Katie Little, Timothy Cordomanchi, Terry Sentner, and the Ginn family. If you'd like to support my channel and become a patron, go to patreon.com/SarahKateSly. You guys have no idea how much it helps, especially now that I'm in college and I'm living off of microwave meals and Hot Pockets. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Bye.